I can simply define life as a borrowed time. Abrabo nyina yemra yabo hobisia.
In God's plan, I say there be a process near more important to him.
Foundation of where we live, as I see it, the foundation and your process.
Okay.
One major thing, ama most of us are baby a fibano. The kids are allowed to go through the process of their parents, not the process where God has ordained them to do. Me mama dey yen and our papa dey yen pass and the Bible tie at
bank
office.
Okay.
Bank no yeduma. What if God did not call that child of yours to stay at the bank to work? Parents want their kids to satisfy them instead of the kids satisfying what God has called them to do, not their breaking process.
I didn't know through this process and yami who say ebia ni pay kwan onam so ye enye mimi nyamma kwan ade nyame step in
say nyame ade ba kwan nyame pese obeye ni say ode ni pe beje wo perfume say na mi si so biem nyame pese ode ni pe ebeje wo perfume say me yesa no ayi osisifo
obi akwa asode wasom nyame for 50 years. You can say the so-called process that we are talking about.
Very good.
And you won't quite sorry no nyame onhui. And you said be told there be our son wedding nyame onhui.
Good.
And nyame wanye ha.
Okay. Now why ne anointed David so be baba yo him?
Samuel.
Why ne ma Samuel won kwan so anointed David?
Nyankopon.
Okay, processor Abra Samuel Odifo Samuel call David papa nchen say obe anointing nipa nyame ambo obi adin antre no wan kase okwa anointing David
sure
enti ye line ne nkwala na no mo ba no unim de na ekoso Odifo Samuel trim osi we de ni ho efe
yeah
sa hinye na nyame aka chen say nye we na mepe o kwa sorry na ye nyame apede say me kwatna sorry dem ne nkyere say me ye nyame apede. And Bible will cry, it is born out of greediness. It is born out of selfishness. It is born out of hatred. Nyamisumbi owa exchange nyamisum. I want to praise be Methodist. And there is a culture he was brought up or she was brought up since Sunday be a sorry. Man call weekday service I'm so for whom you be joined to them I mean Kobe Mano. Most of the Christians are using fire service approach. Yet you are sorry them, but you cry near come and hear radiate. Bones of the radiate part is a problem about. I have a fire service for no. The fire tenders have packed. A gentleman, a to baby, a dimricas alcohol. Most of the Christians nowadays are using the fire service approach. Let's sit down, relax, and enjoy our life. Let's wait. We can sow seed.
Baby, I will be a more quaba at the bar. PENIEL HOUR Jumedi so a chese enye fedi agrona ni nyina enkomodi a chese the realities about life and realities in Christianity and ene papa Pastor Evans in Shaba Kwame ono na ene wabetena adwamu a chese me no enno eba betwetwe nkomo a enye fedi agra enna form nti bomoden se ebra waje wakonwa na se ebra wafaafo ya wo hwe yesese ayi no obesua bibi free enkomo a ye ba bedi mu san se wiase ye kwa ye be nyina nimde ni nyina eye nimde nso se obi nimu a ya na mpanifo se obi etwe me din ni nyame ba ne me ne Pastor Evans in Shaba Kwame na ye ba bedi nkomo no nti straightforward me ko osofo nchen na me ne no akotwetwe nkomo eja e ba cha kwa ba
boss na for mo ti say
nyame adon obebe microphone kakra ede amame But you might say o Christo so mu.
Say who atiase e kratiase die nkunimdie na ne namu.
Ya dia sida emerade. Na said there be me hu say wo kire o ye teachings. More of Christianity no. People are lacking the teaching wisdom and the teaching mechanism field no, and they are into looking for prophetic and everything. But me when say o teachings mu do. And I mean, see a dim komokaka, a far brabo, and a process. Yakasa brabo and pacho, wo narrative, and no yamisu nim diemono, pachotia says. Abrabo,
yeti abrabo, yeti abrabo. Abrabɔ no nkoye ni po gina ba bi ne koso ni mobusa nsa abrabɔ ne hwan.
Okay.
I can simply define life as a borrowed time. Abrabɔ nyina ye mra ya bɔ hobisia. Ana se mre ne eye obi dia na odi ama ye nsia ntwentwen so kakra. Adenti na meka sa.
Meba, life is a borrowed time.
Yes.
A borrowed time no ye ko borrow free.
Se ne tie nie. Wanye negotiation bia so beba wiase.
Okay.
Obi anyone sin konwa se obeba ba bia frɛ no Ghana ana so obekɔ Europe.
Okay.
Obi anyone negotiation se maame we na ese wo ana papa we na ese nyinse maame we man be wo.
Okay.
The only ya ne say so ye bojato ada na yem ko bia no obetimi narrate di si ya kyerɛw.
Okay.
Wan kasa unim. The only ya say ya wo nye no aba. Oni namwa beti an say to wu ko. So it is a borrowed time. The year prehwehwe nyina it's on a borrowed time. It is said they set a time bomb no. One day explode per oko. So life is just about borrowed time. What the show trim says about borrowed time, you start to find out who brought you, who gave you that time now is borrowed, no, and where and what he wants you to do within that time. So life is simply the borrowed time.
Wow. Nani ye say ko ye borrowed time adinti na ye be wiase a ye bebre.
Obre de opa bebre open so a omre. But the ohwehwe wa brabom ene de ya hyew se beye no ene kire obreko abefam. Otimase.
Okay.
The wo de oba ye no time na ye borrowed no. So ma 90 years or reason to ma 19 years no 90 years no. So ma 10 years or ma reason to ma 10 years no.
Okay.
De ma ubia no edien no se bra beye. And edien ni twa so beye.
Okay.
So first of all, you must be able to identify why you are on earth. What is the purpose of you on earth? Edien na wo abrabo afro sebra.
Okay.
Adenti na abrabo. Mu gugu sperms be I can 1 million sperms. Why did life selected you to come out on this earth? What is the purpose? So if you're able to discover that purpose, you may be able to live within that time. Umre, me kabre no nche say you no go through a certain kind of way by ye wo brebi ye bre. And ye wo brebi a wo de gi ade. You say I can focus ye wo bregu wo.
Oh sure.
Sana me meet life as.
Okay. Ye kwa ye be nyina no me hu ni say most of everything that we are doing, most of the things that we are doing on this earth, I say, bibi ani papa so we be alpha process mo.
Process.
Adenti na life, bibi entimi empie prekope na aje se kofa bibi mo ansa na bibi apie.
You di kan bo ade no, or the process na boy.
Okay.
Nyankopon, o kan Genesis chapter 1 ne ba se di nyina familiar no. He never skipped any part of his process. Day 1 trade your boy, day 2 trade your ye, day 3 trade them di can catch us say we are living on a borrowed time. And finally day 7 say God rested. So there will be a day you'll be called to rest. But what are the preparation? What are the processes? What are the timing to the process lines now, Kitano?
Okay.
And only the most important thing I mean maintenance man say Enti ye kasa na obi ohodo ma the calling teaching by prophetic here be faith.
Okay.
Enti ye ofe no wan hwe ya you move out from your line no akọ. Ni na ye nyame adwuma o. But so ye fro say be shan kom anase fro say be kyerɛkyerɛ. Bible say kom se fo nso mun kom na kyerɛkyerɛ fo nso kyerɛkyerɛ. Nyame na dia kyɛw say ye no a eno de obi a gitum.
Okay.
But say ye ofa all
right, so let's talk more about the process itself. In God's plan, I say there be a process near more important to him.
The foundation of where we live, as I see it, the foundation and a process.
Okay.
When God saw say Nema assassinate the whole pan and find your no, he started to create with a process. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. That was the process. One for light, and find fishes, and find your body. God is all powerful, so at the go.
Okay.
But because He wanted to teach us and for us to understand, say everything must go through a process.
Okay.
Or the process so that you will not have any assumptions to skip that process.
Okay.
Yeah, and then young boom to say Adam by you say. You have to go through that process. You have to become a seed in the womb. Ubeni 9 months. Uma maybe the ama be kwa chima wo kra ne ni CS kra wa wo waba obesua nu fon ko ebedu ba bi nu benum koko ebedu ba bi no ne etete ho ahon egbegbe mi hye wa no ne de kere I point will come out. Ubeba be de won ti sese de yen ti aye kasa yi. A day will come out. Ubekita puma nyame wa dom na ni a. It is a process. Everything that God has made is a process.
Okay. And between the process or in the process timeline,
there is a certain thing we are always trying to skip. And we are always trying to escape it.
Okay.
That is your waiting period. That particular thing, that waiting period. That is the most difficult of it all.
Okay.
The most difficult of it all. Mamima, one practical example. You go through school from KG1 to secondary school.
Okay.
You may not be able to discover who you want to be.
Sure.
And it's all spending 15 years. That 15 years is preparing you. It's a process preparing you to discover who you want to be. In Tebikura University, now it means a banking.
Okay.
Sales.
Okay.
But also, and I want to school. And I'm sorry, how can you even know so be banking and now be sales? So you must go through that process. But at the piano, say who see at the near pass where class 1 or class 2 no. I know your friend that waiting period. Men so me dear, matuni din say obeti make a moment of carrying your cross.
Okay.
It's a moment where you have to carry along your cross. Cross ye day. Jesus obi opeso di machibia na eso ye dey.
Ofana senya so.
Uwa senya na ye dey when na abefa so. Oso bia wanka se nipa ni be selected ones. Everyone who wants to be a true believer of Christ has to carry a cross.
Okay.
So that period, is where carrying cross in a.
Okay. And see, why do many believers give up in this particular process timing? Rather than someone could do shebra nyankopon dia mom, but in the space of say ombefi baby nyanko could do sa shebra no now ma give up.
Because the kind nipa nim say timing ni nyame timing. Osum nyame but ono ahemra ma nyame. No kosum no ahemra ma no at the age of 24 years me nyame ka bia dem. Me worry. Okay, we go school no. Now all primary ni busa say what do you want to be in future? I can say.
Oh, me can say then time me say me a politician.
Obi kura say politics. Okay, some of them mobile in politics wo. And you say pilot o. Be say bank manager ade. But I've even forgotten about even say pilot crowd. I just say be a full player and be say pilot o. So we have desires. The desires compared to your process and a man yedin.
Okay.
The desires. It fight against your process. It fight against your process. Okay. Mamima one practical example.
Okay.
There was a certain man in the Bible.
Okay.
Needing the soul. No New Testament and from Old Testament wrong confused.
Okay.
What was there is the process, I'm picking from your calling to your appointment.
Okay.
So that you understand it.
Okay.
Oh, but we are now starting abroad. There is a calling upon your life because that calling will be a do we are seeing or the Biblia show Musa Brabe.
Sure.
And that what time is the manifesting. And between that calling time and the appointment time, in the middle of your friend process,
Okay.
And it's our process, There are certain periods God is very silent. God seems not to care about anything.
process name.
My men for saw the American example.
Okay.
So I didn't be Paul, right?
Yeah, sure.
Was anointed to bring us the word of God through the Bible. And in the New Testament, Paul Trobibre. But the same Paul was persecuting Christians. Now ya fancy a friend about you as a son betron kratama yenkaino. Nyemfa hu awrade no. Ono Paul now was persecuting Christians at that time. Till said Damascus kwamu, he encountered Christ.
Okay.
That day was his appointment day. And he said offer letter. That day your man offer letter so onko starting adwuma.
Okay.
And today no ye nyina ba ni nyina. It was part of the process and all from. But say process ne your papa say your papa yenyanka ho asem.
Okay.
And to persecuting Christians was relating to bringing Christians, because here and here there is Christian involved.
Okay.
So he was prepared through loss, because oni mumra ya mani nkochesi mra.
Okay.
Enti mra na Kristo di frɛ no.
So mra me ne mra ho adwuma nso.
Asɛm ni nyina no.
But in say un say Christopher nyina nso na go through process a omunya good outcome. Obi wo betima try sa to set process ya wo kan wa asemi. Obi wo betima try sa ana na ye hye ne nkoma na ye motivate ne say process na wo go to na ye nyame akwan. But at the end of the day no, not even ne go and I said ye wo say wa achieve kura na wa achieve.
Esie ni nyina no. Enye the process through God's own. Enye process ni ape. Mamenka de bi nchro.
Okay.
One major thing ama most of us ababi efiba no ya ho kire ni nyina ne the kids are allowed to go through the process of their parents, not the process where God has ordained them to do.
And no be chemu say on
okay. Me ma me de ye ne fe and our papa de ye ne fe pa se ne baba bo putai atena
bank
office.
Okay.
Bank no ye dwuma. What if God did not call that child of yours to stay at the bank to work? Enti nyamia ma oba kan na nyinsen ama awo na ba, but yentimi embusa papa na odi awo ne ba ye ne se den na apese ye de akwala ne fam ne ye.
Okay.
Because I feel like I am in a high position, a high office, my child deserves to be also at a higher level. Higher level in the definition form of nipa de.
Okay.
First no oba down asofo okra no ye se asofo dwuma de yes start it oma no mo bobo ni ade ube kwa bobo beba no na ofufuo no ya bobo so udi kra nye ya say no.
Sure.
But enne amanfo de omo ma kwa academy so mo nkosu abobo. So oba time na previously no wo no na otesa process na sese ne ba no kobobo no eyensiesi anyame siesie na mana kobo team papa bi wo Europe anka onye ne ba o bobo na duane so santre no. No part time adwin say ye die nyina gina school dem nko a.
Okay.
Me badie ese me baye doctor o. Enti ni focus na ye say esa akwala no. Me bu na ontimi nsua de akra ese me bu no.
Na osua de.
Baby akwala na nye book na nyame de ma ne bai.
Okay.
That is the biggest challenge of our time. Parents want their kids to satisfy them, instead of the kids satisfying what God has called them to do. Not their breaking process. No. It is akwala no anka nyame yes akwala no be take it 20 years to work on the process now coordinate baby with the and now say the parents, the community are diverting at the ninty. Into community ni diverting in 10 years. Not grace a friend adumamba mu a wan hwe you the 10 years no be ba be Kenya me 20 years no, because that 20 years you can never escape it. You can never skip that 20 years. Wo ko abeba be ye. It says the wafeli wasi na ye connection am akọ university. Is either so be akọ fake certificate the room. And as a final day before see be graduate you know. Obeba be ye wasi no e de ahyem. Obeba be remedial de ahyem.
Na adi ntina through this process anyame hu se ebia nipa yi kwan onam so ye enye mmemi nyamma kwan. Ade ne nyame step in.
Say nyame ade ba kwa nyame pese obeye ni se ode ni pebeje wo perfume se. na minsi so biem nyame mpesa odi ne pe ebedi wo perfume se me yesa no ayi osisifo
how
enye sa adentine so pam se Kristo ne okra na waje nkwa asa na wanya nkwaje esa wo would feel pem edema no enti no sini nyina be wie wo abrabọ ho atembu why nyame de ne pe ebo oba Eve ema Adam sorry fi ni ndam a nyame ankasa read the Bible ni God never spoke. It was Adam who spoke when onyane ye. I say we dey me dompe mu dompe ni.
Yes, hope so say nyame an se da on de ni na amane se we yere.
Dabi.
Eh, we sure.
Yo, I say Adam sorry ya pe say we dey me bone of my bone. Meaning communication ko nyame ni Adam once na Adam oda. Ami abon ba the Bible me say whatever it is biano man say Bible trust say na nyame hira oba ne so de ma oba ma no.
Okay.
And the enyo kra na the catch when after say nyama nko yie no and when God visited them in the garden after eating the so-called apple no.
Okay.
The first question Yakupon busa Adam is Adam, where are you? Okay, sir.
Sure.
Adam said, I am naked. When you go by your own world, you become naked. Now, through that thing, Adam started blaming God for the woman you gave.
Now, the internet, I mean, so 1 year, Obana and fewer because, listen, nyaminim ye sometimes go for questions on mubisane say nyaminim say he knows the beginning according to the Bible. He knows the beginning.
The Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, he knows the end from the beginning, which means say adia abc chinebia wonim. Good. And he said then nyamin to me yenhwe ha ema adia bi si ansa sana mu no se sana ye ka no se nyame because you be anyone hinta we awurade anim
ento anya hwe han. It is part of your process.
No,
it must be part of your cross you have to carry. Enfa na Yesu fi bae
meba let me come into reality. Enye carnality by reality. Obi akwa asode wasom nyame for 50 years. You can say the so-called process that we are talking about. Enu no nam.
Very good.
Enti won kwa asori no nyame onhui. Enti se bi eto de bi a won sransa no wadi no nyame onhui.
Good.
Enti nyame wonye nwe ha.
Okay. Now why na anointing David so be ba be yo him?
Samuel.
Why na ma Samuel won kwan so nko anointing David?
Nyankopon.
Okay, processor Abra Samuel Odifo Samuel call David papa nchen say obe anointing nipa nyame ambo obi adin ankyere no wan kase okwa anointing David.
Sure.
Enti ye line ne nkwala na no mo ba no unim de na ekoso Odifo Samuel trim osi we de no ho efe.
Yeah.
Sa hinye na nyame aka chen say nye we na mepe o kwa so ya na ye nyame apede se me kwatna sorry dem ne nkyere se me ye nyame apede empaibo bi wo cry. It is born out of greediness. It is born out of selfishness. It is born out of hatred. Nyame sum bi wo ho a ehye nyame sum. They want to praise be Methodist. And there is a culture he was brought up or she was brought up say Sunday be a sorry. Man call weekday service am so for whom you be join to them I mean ko bi mano. Most of the Christians are using fire service approach. Yet you are sorry them but you cry near come and hear radiate. Those of the radical part is a problem about. I have a fire service for no. The fire tenders have packed. A jet to moi, a to baby, a dimricas hako. Most of the Christians nowadays are using the fire service approach. Let's sit down, relax, and enjoy our life. Let's wait. We can so see the pastors will pray for us. But what am I saying? And going to church, sitting at church, does not make you a true believer. But see me, Radia, come in more at a good night, it's in a papa de me kan say wo na also ye Kristo ni
okay
na me busa wo okokua mu se ka wan kasa na wo nyame se ne wa yo nyame ama pen ne pepa seta se judge na judge wo a o Kristo som no okokua mu no enye de nipa mu no
okay
o ma ke ho a are you a fully Christian percentage ahe na de be ma ho enti wo wabrabo a wo bo no na nka tie mpa ebo na ma ho ansa ka wo mpa ebo no wa be ma ho mu aya na
wow
enti bebre de Kristo so mi tu ye ho abo ye ho mra ne keke da no refi e ka kire Yesu se okay Yesu ya sori o ne ka kire se onna enu nua no mo abontin
hwehwe wo
aseme na mo ebe na Yesu de ma o
aseme na ne meja ne woni mo tie ma asem
mo mo tie ma asem no mo ye ma eja pede ma no enti uti ho no aho chenti na akobo mpa ye wo. You did not go for relationship. You went to do business. Me repeat it. You did not go to church for relationship. You went to church to do business.
Business near the end.
So so seed no aje blessing no ko. We be ATM machine. Okoye deposit in church and be withdraw. Oko because e no yare nto nya yare sa. Oko because na dwuma se nto pa dwuma. Oko because ni krata san fisa ni ID card na ma onim pefe se nyame betimi aye. Oni sa ko kan wi a obemno be ka cho say adwuma nti se mi nya time ma sorry.
Okay.
So you did not go for a relationship. You went to do a transaction. And that is business. So you need to question your prayer. Is your prayer based on transaction or relationship?
So that means these are the things a money pa go through processes. My process may in vain.
Okay. So Joseph, Ninkola blame na nyamia so ne da say Osram Owia ene nsroma aye de ben
akoto
as a Chinese say beba be diso.
Sure.
That was the calling. Now so Joseph kayeko makola on the office and could be to make Janya Cocotuan papa nanka de ne da so no aka che ne papa. Hey, o papa say ntime so me ba be koto. Anuafo na ati. Say ye be koto de a. Ye be koto de a. Ene uni ho ase na nkoto bi. Okay, me ka process na sem na chiro. Enti ye be kum Joseph. Because God has an ordained destiny for Joseph unti. Nyame abamu. But enam say Joseph also go through process ni mu no. Nyame ba mu no amoma njai. Ekum no be yifi ho. Omoma de no koto pit mu ton no. Me ka ba be si wo de ne so. Ni nyina Joseph ankasa ntiera de da. Akonkwa so mu. Ye de na kwa kodu Potiphar. Enya Potiphar. Potiphar, okay. All for sooner repuno se me de miniminya me som no menya ne bone. Enti so obi be repu me master yire so onye me beda. Na manya wiase ade nyina na ma pu sa wiase ade na wu awrade. Ma di wasem so abegina wasem so a awrade hwe ma me koda prison. So be so yare so for mesra into a jar sorry.
Yeah, any offer.
Into about for transaction, about for relationship. Obehwehwe so for say so for be bompa ya manu obehwehwe nyankopon na ofre so for no. Na wo a awrade me de madu asede no apede so. Ya de na koto prison. Intwato so kesese. Joseph akopie prison. Na wa na esan ka gbofu nyame anka ne okra onye hwebi. But it was in the prison and Joseph nyema pa nyame de aduane mu manipie. God sent Joseph to the prison not for himself alone, but a real chain and Joseph was commissioned. Nipa be bring your mufa wo die wo prison wo. E mu ba ko de kabera no. and okokai Joseph wa nifie mi busa o anka Joseph na him no be pure Pharaoh any. The only method God could have used at that time, so I'm gonna go through that prison method. Or didn't they go prison? No, who says you'll be obeying Pharaoh? Say yes or Bano be Joseph one and say Pharaoh. Nanko be a why you're in a bonny do a to a fiasi the intimate fro. I'm our bass sign a bedina baby ujinana. But a bedbomb because Joseph womb. What you say?
Sure.
So Joseph needed to allow himself to go through the process. One do me radeda, one kasenti radeda, one do me papa da. Ninja no mumpo, one kasenti omoda. Kiwiye cheno. Joseph became a prime minister. Did Joseph ever thought of a prime minister before?
Never.
Even in the records of the Bible, Opa Koyu Egypt, there has never been any prime minister after. And before. For now, maybe I'm out of politics, so I don't know too much. Joseph became the first prime minister. So I said at the end of the year. Until Radipa, him say he TJ 7 times. Nipa ya omodi nipa ya ko ejamu, ombedu ono mache. But I didn't know nyame share nipa Shadrach, Meshach, ni Abednego man ko de ejamu ansana Radiba.
One kasa that time.
One kasa. Kopim say do mudra phone on major phone in Mansa. I see your ways are not my ways. I say I know the plans I have towards you. Is it your process or God's process? It's either your process or God's process.
Now the engine and yamin should me din sir.
Now nyame wakasa choda.
Oh, there are ways to make us a trainipa.
And it's not just nyame onye din.
But sometimes with me and too much.
Adano na osori anopa na ase ohun dodo biti entrance na nka jojo ho na bibia ade adanse sankene menkwa adwuma no na ase wankwa ye bete o salary na akoye na akonya problem no onyame kasa kire wanopa na na wankasa kire out of your own selfish gains menka se no ntino uti yo ya akoda o ba me kire se there are a lot of ways anyame di communicate mind. Da no koto koko kakra bi na Johnson ball form koko ni ball form no ofia ba efo nyina wedi o matemasi. What if the cocoa was containing poison? Tell say nyame man ball form e wom say na your last 10 cedis na de koto koko no, but what was in the content of that cocoa no enti bia nyame man above for the ball form. It was in all things give thanks to me. We don't want to go through any process koko kakra nti Papa what am I say there? That is what I'm trying to say. Me process no process in your into the me process but to process one. Now be catch them say I didn't na assume see there ne dia bantem na me dia che dia. Oh ye mistake. Ebi I made 70 years we be 100 years. And no so so. Ebi I made there connected to be destiny. A man tema nipa na connected to the destiny no. Wo. And also, most of we Christians nowadays are a bit selfish. Now it is the spirit of I, me. And to preach pa kanyamya sempa and also that. But uji this on sabeka I receive it near boom. The amount, but are you ready to go through the process? Are you ready to carry your cross? Do you even know your cross? Do you even know your cross? She Hannah. She Oba Hannah. Hannah warrior no. It did not bother Hannah so much. Ni kunu ko warrior Oba ba ko be kan wan ha no. Ba tema ni kunu ne kra ne started so wo na yedi ni hu fe no. Started say Hannah. But at that time, Ananki are worried about Kwaka Womba. No. He could have started with that prayer, no boy, but she was so comfortable. Menkwana meton challenge be. When you are not ready to move out from your comfort zone to go through that process, you will always still be the same. What am I saying?
Okay.
Hannah Any ban no. The story of Hannah said the no. Bible say do baby crow if one kaza the yen say be no one man. What's it there be the pains I'm going through. But per the records na Hannah ni kunu e the for.
Sure.
But the pains of going through as a barren woman, no, the kind of a yawa no mo share no ntimi biem. So out of those pains, no, he begot Samuel, and Samuel became the first prophet. All share come say be si ohene o Israel mamu. And Samuel ordained the first king, a friend of King Saul. And the same Samuel ordained David as a king. Enti na Hannah nim say anko baba wo difo kese bi a friend Samuel a anko starting the process ntem. Come na ni bre on paibo ho ntem. But because ni fie yenti, because anani kun wari bi nka oni agigi ni sunti, o kan Bible say o wari empo achi no, so oto de ba akoma na yire keto na oto mienu ma na yire pani na Hannah no.
Okay.
So Hannah was in a comfort zone.
So that means say there is some time be was start to process no early.
My catcher say yes, that my catcher say life is on a borrowed time. After na ayati men come on and say life is on a borrowed time. Enti enra na nka ese mi si ma de na mansi ade be tia me nya atade ne de akọ adwuma no. Be kwa kofa na atade na efi. That time is wasted. But it must go through the process of washing before somebody be kwa adwuma. So that borrowed time, it's gone. On your phone, so you see, my brother, life is so short.
It passes so quickly.
And as soon as it is gone, we watch life and time only at the death point. But ene uwu eno nkwa ewa ha. Bible say owo ni nkwa ejina techirema so. Na de wo do no eno na wudi
number.
What am I saying? So the process is difficult. Me ma probably another one here.
Okay.
If God watched Jesus to go through the process, who are you not to go through that process?
But some people also think say Christo will not be we are the Kwano. It has cleared many things because
fantastic.
As it is written, Jesus say a senior so say it is finished.
What is finished or the baby count?
Probably we Christians we believe say it is our
my assignment is finished.
Okay.
And also
hey. Christo na assignment na finished and I say be we my Christo for.
Okay, maame ntwombra kakra. After ni usori no. Ansa eno be yi ni mu adi kire omo no. Say na asuafo no mpeso mo tache no hwa seme no ka kire omo. O se me mfa me ho nko kire de oye de be.
Soma me no.
Me boa.
Sure.
Into okoba ebiem. Okosoro samba yo. Ansa no be ka kire omo se afi de be so ni mu hwe. A whole answer now because I feel dear. Yet your sorrow to me in Ashaminsa. So it was after it is finished assignment, the process was finished, and some authority was given unto him. I'm not saying he will need authority, but because our God is a principle God, you will go through that process before your badge will be given unto you. You need to get that scar. It's a channel. Without that scar, you can never get that badge. So people are avoiding that scar because they think their skin is so flesh. My skin I don't know, but without that scar, there will be no badge. He watched his only begotten son. I will not confirm me at the day of baptism of Jesus. We name a doba.
So many.
He watched the same person to be humiliated, to be beaten, to carry that cross. a copim say obi na beji bi asuafo ni nyina aduane o omo de ni twa no hye aduane obi na beji de no koye ensi ni wo ho kwan. And you think say what be this often until you no go through process. You think say what be your Christian until you no go through process. Now you Christian in Christ. We be no. When you be in Christ, if he went through that process, why? And to show Yesu mami, eka same be chere Yesu the disciples of Christ.
Then to me say most of the times one more go through process the pia bonten to possess their destinies no. As I impempi me hu ni sa se Nyankopon hide wo mo.
Okay. I can forward be bobi am se ankro hu na e be.
Eye dede.
And to ye hu na be dede. You know, going through the process there must be a preservation.
Okay.
There should be a preservation. And yet David no ye kwasra ne ngo so no ba be ye ohene wo Israel mam. Na de ne kwasra ne ngo ni wie no antum rekan ko ahemfie onko kan kire ohene no te so ne se abesra me ngo nti. Ese me na me ye ohene. Meboa. Say Samuel no sra so ngo no ma so be ye ohene no. Ono na aba besra David ngo nti anka David wo ho kwan say that day no kwa ahemfie because all the that day na no kodi hene. But God took David back to the bush to still look after the sheep.
Samum.
And your son and gonna it took a process. Emre crab mu achi ansa na osani Goliath babeko.
Ni asra ne ngwa wie.
That's running ngwa wie o. Ama ono no yasan de na kwa himfie ma na kwa serve as a warrior for King Saul. Ahono ni Jonathan anyonko fa ne baaye. Obi a yasra me se me mbe ye ohene. Na yesan se me mbra himfie emekomo ohene. Na wo eno ni enye problem enen onko.
Hwe microphone to no kakra.
Engosra de ba kakra bi no. Onso nyame afra wate ho. You don't want to go through the process. Oh, asem ni nyina ne fare bai no. Me David. And I'm eating in room when I'm making your friend.
Okay.
And yes, I say, me say the Israel in the mammy. Can you bet in my pama from you? Say me young quan, if you crank me little big. I come up upon coffee and I'm a sham of Ramma, say, Mamma, dear media, and a medical share and a mediway. Because for you to be a king of Israel, can you add the ketwa? And the prophets. At that time na ebeka saus di for no osra di odi kan ngo no na aba o.
Okay.
And wo office and Christopher yank efie be esen. Meboa.
Okay.
But it took David back to the wilderness to still look after the sheep. Because yet though he has been called and appointed to be a king, but the question is when was his appointed date